Right, so we're ready to roll. Welcome everybody to May's hot topic. No, I'm kidding. That was yesterday. Lunch and learn today. And with that, we've got a great subject, which basically says time management of the highly productive agents. And if you will, I kind of added to this the thought of having a career worth having, because we're really looking for two things. One, let's get a great income up. And then second, let's make sure that we got a lot of time to enjoy the fruits of our labor. So those are two key items that come together really to make one. So let's have a career worth having. With us today, we're going to have Dawn Hendrix, and we'll have Dawn introduce herself in a moment. We also have with us today Dawn Connors, and Dawn is kind of the neutral party, but she's coming in from the aspect of being a highly productive mortgage officer, and has done great strides and has shared a number of different times with us regarding how to do what she's doing, I guess, for the lack of better words. And we had a last minute cancellation. So one of the things we were going to learn today was that we need to create a working calendar, a working schedule, which simply means this: I've got a plan in place. I'm going to work it this particular way. And through that, however, priorities may adjust. Things might come up and take a higher priority. So with that, Karina Ball is not going to be able to be with us today because a few things came up and it took a higher priority, and she had to pass on today's event. So that brings in our head coach, Next Level Coaching, Alex Peck. So those are going to be our three featured speakers today, and we're going to run it from there. So Dawn Hendrix, are you on with me if I'm right?
I am. Hello. Hi, everybody.
There you are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And Dawn, maybe just give everybody, for those who don't know you, a quick introduction as to who you are, the kind of production you've done, and I'll clarify anything else that may come up.
Sure. I'm Dawn Hendrix. I am with the Oxford Orient office, and production-wise, last year I did 22 million. And that's been a growing process over the course of several years. So with that came the key element of time management.
Right. As a matter of fact, not only is she the top producer on the blue side, a mother of how many?
Three. And a puppy, which is more work than the kids. So.
And those kids are highly involved in a lot of different activities. And of course, as any parent, you like to be involved. So she is there with them. Dawn is also one of our coaches at HRC Realty and does a phenomenal job with that. So we'll say welcome, Dawn, and we're going to come back. Oh, by the way, one other question, Dawn. How many sides did you do within that 22 million?
59.
So it's almost 60 transactions, and we could say that you still had a life. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah, Mary, can I ask, because I don't remember, I've got a pretty solid idea. How much time did you happen to take off?
Well, last year I took 2 large vacations, and then I had a third smaller vacation. Weekends, I tried really hard. I did end up bringing on a buyer's agent, but I did try really hard to have some of my weekends available because my kids are in a lot of travel sports.
And I think that's one of the keys, is that you had that control, yet you had the flexibility that you could be there for your kids' events.
Right.
Awesome. Let me swing over to Ms. Dawn Connors. So Dawn, I know she's been with Mortgage One. I've known Dawn since I think it was like August or so, September of 2010, right after I started selling real estate on a full-time basis again. So Dawn, if you would give us a little bit of an idea as to who you are and where you're at on a productivity level so everybody can appreciate what you do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. It's an honor to be here and to be part of Coldwell Banker and what Century 21 is doing as well, and just to be here. So I'm really grateful. Thank you. I've been in lending for 21 years, and I call it Kaizen, right? Continuous improvement, as the Japanese would say. And I'm just always shifting, always looking to learn, get a little bit better. Sometimes it's small tweaks, and before you know it, a few years have passed and you're a little bit better than you were before. So I call myself a loam, less of a mess. My production last year, I've helped 402 families last year buy homes or refinance. Last year was a heavy refinance market, as most of you know, because of the industry and with the pandemic. So my mix of business last year was 60% purchases, 60% refinances and 40% purchases. So this year my production will be at about half, about 50%. So I'll expect to help between 225 and 250 families. You can hear me, right? Everything okay?
Yes. Yep, you're good.
Okay, sweet. And I have an 18-year-old, and then I have 3 bonus girls. So, and they're all in sports. So I have a 16-year-old, 15-year-old, and 11-year-old, and I'm finding I used to only have a Monday through Friday time block calendar, but I'm learning that I need to time block my fun too. So my weekends also need to be time blocked, especially when it comes to like the kids' activities and what's going on with what they need. And then one last thing is I've started incorporating a Sabbath for myself from 6 p.m. on Saturday to 6 p.m. on Sunday. And I think even just talking about it right now is making me sweat. I'm 2 weeks into this new work that I'm working on, and I have found that if I spend the entire day and block off all of Sunday, that could be problematic for my clients, and it makes me very uncomfortable. And if I do all day Saturday, it doesn't seem to work well. So it seems to me that I'm working that I'd stop work at 6 p.m. Saturday if I am working, and then start at 6 p.m. Sunday night. So it's just been simply of, I can't get to you until after 6 p.m. I look forward to talking with you then. And it's been 2 weeks running right now. It's working okay. It's working good.
It's awesome, but it is working. It's just a little stressful right now as an adjustment then.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's going to work out. So it's just making me nervous thinking about it.
Oh, too cool. All right. And then, of course, our last minute jump in and become panelist for us is head coach Alex Peck. And I think everybody knows Alex, but why don't you give us a quick introduction, Alex?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Alex, obviously, for those of you who know me. And first of all, I can't replace Karina Ball. So everyone knows that. Karina is one of a kind, so just make sure that she knows that I said that. But yeah, so I've been in the business for about 7 years now, and we started the coaching program about 4 years ago. And to give you an idea of, I work with both individual, one-on-one, and group session, and really it's designed to help agents get to where they want to go. We identify their goals, we build their skill set, and a big part of that is time management. And to give you an idea of our individual agent production last year, we had about 15 agents in the one-on-one coaching program last year, and they closed about $63 million in volume and sold 225 units. So we're shooting for 80 million this year and 250 units. So that's what's on the books for this year.
Love it. Love it. And obviously then if he's helping with that kind of production, he's also helping them, again, create a career worth having. So Alex, while I'm on you, I don't want to keep you in the spotlight. I know you gave me a few things that you said would be really important. What you highlight is your coaching. So what would be your number one, the first thing that you really work with anybody on?
Yeah, so the first thing that we do is, one, we discuss what is your current schedule, and 99.9% of agents I work with don't have a structured schedule, which is fine. That's why we got to build one, right? And, you hear me talk about all the time, whether it's boot camp or Top Gun or you're with me in coaching, I like to break your day down in thirds. But when it really comes down to it, your morning is the most important part of your day. Your morning will dictate how the rest of your day goes. Okay. And one of the things I like to discuss is master your morning. And one of the best ways to master your morning is to establish an unbreakable routine. Because when we first wake up, we're in the real estate business, we're going to have nothing but problems, right? That's what we do. We solve problems all day long. But if we react to those problems when we first wake up in the morning, then we're reactionary the rest of the day and we have no control, right? Our schedule, our business is now controlling us the second we wake up. So what I strongly encourage you to do is to establish a morning routine, whether that's going to work out in the morning, whether that's to go through a role play with a partner, to review your call list of who you're going to talk to that day. Just something you can put into place every morning that's going to jumpstart your day, that is yours, that you are committed to, that is going to allow you to take control of your day.
I like it. I like it. So Dawn Hendrix, knowing you work now with Alex still as your coach and also still one of our coaching clients, what might you throw out? Would you add to what Alex had there?
Yes. So one of the things with my coaching clients that actually that came from Alex, and I'm sure people have heard him say it before, is I prepare for the next day the night before. So I don't have any surprises. I mean, there's always things that come at me, but if I prepare the night before and know what I have to have in place, it definitely sets my day up much smoother. If I wake up in the morning and I'm unprepared, then I'm, like he said, I'm in a panic and I'm trying to figure out what to do versus being ready that night before. So that is, to me, really important.
I know I've heard Alex preach that both boot camp and Top Gun. Prepare the night before, lay things out. It's actually quite amazing if you will lay things out, that you're just into getting active and waking up that much quicker. Dawn, Connors.
Darwin?
Yes, please go for it.
Dawn, can you unpack that a little bit more? What does preparing the night before look like? Could you just take me through, and is it a 30 minutes, and what do you do exactly in that time?
So the first thing I do, which is silly, but I try to get my kids to do this too, is I always have my clothes ready for the next day. I have a schedule that I go to the gym first, so I have my gym clothes. Then I have my work clothes. And then what I do, the more important professional part of it, is that my calendar is reviewed to make sure that I have everything I need for my listing presentations that I'm going on that day, any buyer documentation I need. I just make sure that I have everything ready so that if I weren't able to stop back in the office or whatever, something came up in the middle, I would be completely ready to still roll through my day, no problem.
Got it. Do you pack your car and have your work stuff ready to go?
Yep. So I have a bag that I carry. I know this is silly, but I'll just tell you. So I have a bag that I carry to the gym that has all my work extra stuff in it. And then I have a spot where I hang my clothes so that when I go out the door, I grab all that. It goes in my car. I have my lunch packed the night before, grab that, put it in my car. And then I have my work bag. And in my work bag, I have, I have folders, and every client has a folder. And I know that seems old school. I still use my computer, but if I have 3 appointments that day, I have 3 folders with every piece of documentation that I need. If they're ready to list that day, I've got it. If they're not, I've still got it. And if my computer dies, I've still got it. So I just make sure I have everything that I could possibly need, minus the last minute things that come up during that day.
I love it. I love it.
Magnificent.
As a matter of fact,
thank you so much.
Hey, Dawn Hendrix, question is what do you do first thing in the morning before you even go to the office? If I know you correctly.
I go to the gym every morning.
And wow. So what time are you hitting the gym?
It depends. If it's a day where I can't fit it into my normal time, then it's a 5 a.m. class.
Okay.
If it's not, then I can go later in the morning. And I have had mental struggles with going later in the morning, but it works for me and I can still maximize my day. But that's where my scheduling really comes into play. Because if I'm going to do that, I have to go, a little later into my day business wise. And that just seems to work for me really well. So it just depends
And
on.
is that kind of into the working schedule that I was talking about? Sometimes there's just stuff that takes a higher priority.
Yeah. I mean, if we have meetings, for example, and I have to switch that around, I do. But for the most part, and again, this is all of us as professionals, but I tell my clients that I have an appointment during this time, and it's actually me at the gym. So if they ever see me there, they'd probably be mad, but that is my time. I have to have that time in order to be productive for the rest of the day. So that is locked in on my calendar.
So then, Dawn, a question just came to me here. What's a typical day for you? I mean, all encompassing that you've got open for work.
Okay. So I have 3 kids, so I have to get them to school. Then I work out. I typically start my first call out session at 11 a.m. It probably could differ for anybody depending on your schedule. I dedicate 2 hours a day to dialing out. So I'm calling FSBOs, I'm calling my past clients, any leads that I've gotten in, whatever. I don't have a specific time for certain types of leads. I'm just calling for 2 hours. And then after that, I handle the paperwork and things that come with making those calls, because hopefully you've gotten some business from it. And then I have kids to pick up. So from 3 to 5, I'm running all over picking kids up, because they all go to they're all in different levels of school. And then from 5 on is work again. So, I try to schedule it so that I'm not out till 10 o'clock at night. But for the most part, if I can use an extra couple hours to get my client set up, and there's many times where I have to be flexible with that school pickup time. Kids are all old enough where they can, but I try really hard to stick to those. And then I do have a buyer's agent that I've recently brought on, and that has been helpful, because if there's weekends and things like that, I want to be able to spend that time doing those things. But there's other sacrifices that come with it, but it is definitely a better option for me to have some of those weekends available.
I love it, because what we're really talking about is the quality of time on top of still having a fair quantity to it.
Yeah.
But you've got a great income and you still have a great family life, and your husband still loves you. Well, okay. Well, let me swing over to Dawn, because here you are doing 100+ loans. And, the question becomes, how the heck did you do that? I know a big time, you've already mentioned it, time blocking. What does that mean? What does it look like? What do you do as far as your schedule? How do you make it happen?
Is it okay if I share my screen?
Yeah, is it going to let you here, or do I going to make you a co-host?
Yep.
Okay.
Nope, it's done. So for me, I'm a visual learner, so seeing it visually really helps me. What I've incorporated over the last 6 months is what I call a miracle morning. Cheryl lent me the book, the Miracle Morning book, and it's really helped to adjust my mindset. So I set my alarm at 5:15 in the morning, and then I get out of bed at 5:30. So when so I have a snooze that I hit once or twice. So once I get up, each day is my miracle morning, and it's a little different. So if I open it up, it says what I'm doing within my miracle morning. So I don't go to the gym. I work out at home, because time is so important to me that I just try to shave as much time as possible. So I really try to control driving for myself. So 5:15, I'm up and out of bed by 5:30 at the very latest. So I start by stretching from 5:30 to 5:40, and then I have a workout that lasts for 40 minutes. I always do a gratitude journal. I spend 10 minutes writing 3 things that I'm thankful for. And then I have a devotion and prayer time that lasts for 15 minutes. I'm starting to do a meditation, which I'm up to about 2 minutes. It's really difficult for me to relax and to breathe and to think, and just to clear, not to think, but to clear my head. And then from there, I on Mondays, this is what my Mondays look like. I spend 30 minutes what's called in time. I work in my business and work on myself. So I spend that time working on something, it's called red time, but I spend it in time of something that's great. For example, sometimes I get into the habit of writing thank yous or buying gifts, and working in the minutia of the day, but I try not to. I try to work on an investment strategy or where I see myself in 5 years. Usually what I'll do is I have theme days. I'm really big on theme days. So on Mondays, my theme day is to read through my goals, my 1 year, my 3 year, my 5 year goals. And then Tuesday, my theme day is to spend time on my family. So at the end of the day, I'll call a extended family member. So I work well with theme days for myself. So I'm working in my business, but it's more planning. It's a strategy or planning, big picture planning. That's what I focus on. And then I leave on Mondays at 7:45 because I meet up with Denise on Mondays at 8 a.m. Let me give you an example of a Friday.
Who's Denise? Because this is part of
Denise
how you do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's a great point. So let me go back to Mondays. Thanks, Dee. On Mondays, I meet with Denise every Monday from 8 to 8:30, and she's my personal assistant. So I give her time. She rules the roost. Homegirl rules my world. So for 30 minutes, I answer her questions. I'm available to whatever Denise wants during that 30 minutes, Denise gets. She tells me what the week's going to look like. She tells me what we're doing. She asks me questions. She might ask me about marketing approvals. She asks me if I want to sponsor an event. Whatever Denise has in her mind, she asks. Once in a while, I have something too, and I'm like, pick me. Can I say something? But it's a meeting that she heads up, and it's 30 minutes. And it took a long time to get her to be prepared for that meeting. So a big thing is I have to remind her, you're spending 30 minutes with the boss. You should get 30 minutes of one-on-one time. I'm not doing anything else but focused on you. Be ready for the meeting. Be prepared, be present, be ready for the meeting. So then now she comes with an agenda, she comes with attachments, and she directs the show for that 30 minutes. She's my business assistant.
So let's go back and show us your time blocking and what that looks like,
Sure.
Because I think that's a great part for people to learn, because it's rare. And so, yeah, I'm really glad that you decided to share this, because I know I've asked you to do this before, but it's impressive to see what you've got there. It's someone just did this. It's a mind-blowing experience to see how tight your schedule actually is. So can you share with us what you got here then?
Sure. When I have an open span of 3 or 4 hours, I don't get anything done. It's miserable. I have a very unsuccessful, unproductive day. So it's taken about 2 years to become a soldier of my schedule, but I'm a soldier of my schedule now. So for example, today is Wednesday. So I had videos with Mike and Tiffany, who's trying out for the position. So she came to my house this morning, and we did videos from 7:30 to 8:30. Then I had my team meeting at 8:30. I met with Tiffany to see what she has in mind for social media and what it would look like as a personal assistant. And then I had to leave and get to the office that I'm at. And I wanted to start my power hour at 10 o'clock. It doesn't always happen. I'm calling my clients that are pre-approved. Right now I have 147 people pre-approved, which is a lot. So there's a lot of people that are pre-approved and looking for houses but not finding houses. So I'm calling them, I'm giving them pep talks, I'm encouraging them, I'm asking if they have questions. I'm trying to feel out, are they frustrated with their real estate agent? Because if they are, I'm getting a hold of their realtor and talking to them about where the client's frustrated. So I talked to one today. One client, she had a 630 credit score. She asked me to rerun her credit. Just 60 days later, she's done the 2 things she needed to do. Her score's over 700, and she's now pre-approved to buy a house as of today. So I was able to accomplish that as well. So I started my power hour at 10:07 a.m. and I stopped it at 11:50 to prepare for our time. So I was a little late, and I finished a little early, and I had 22 dials today. And I connected with 8 people. So this afternoon, I have a monthly team meeting with my whole team. I'll meet with one of my employees about her pipeline, and then I have a couple refinance consultations this afternoon. And then I get to go to golf. So every Wednesday is golf. So I make sure that I have this red stop working and drive to golf because I have a weekly golf thing with some girlfriends.
So you're color coded also. Any deep meanings to that?
Green is so green is go time. That means it's money making activities. This light gray would also be considered green as well. It's just to have my eyes be able to see that it's a refinance. And then you could see where there's pre-apps. Anything that's a pre-app is actually a pre-approval appointment with a client. Purple is personal time, and then this light color is this pinkish light color is my miracle morning. So yeah, I can see everything just by color. I've taught myself what my color stands for and what it means.
I love it. I love it. And Dawn, it's just, again, such a great example of fully playing out a day. And if I might add to what so far the three have given us, that, you know, for me and anybody that's new to time blocking, and when we talk time blocking, it's just determining what's my calendar going to look like overall. Now, I'm one who says that I got to start with him first. You know, so I'm going to put in God first. Anything that I got for that needs to go in. If I don't have it in, it's quite possible at night it might not be in, but it's set by life priority. And for me as a believer, it is supposed to be him first. So that goes into my calendar and everything else will fill in around that. Second, you should be able to put family in. Family should be in there and plan that before you plan everything else. Then put in your career. And my suggestion, guys, we are in a digital age, and it took a lot because I've been in this for 35 years, and I went from being a Franklin planner, having to put it in writing, to then going over to what was called a Palm Pilot, and you had to learn the little codes. I see smiles out there. Now I know how old everybody is, right? Thank you, Bob and Canada. Yeah. And that was a struggle just to get to that. And then when we got, you know, phones that actually had a calendar on it, wow, what a lifesaver. Because now, as an example, you should be clicking on the invitation for Hot Topic Tuesdays, copying it directly into your digital calendar. You've got the same invitation for this, which they're always noon to 1. And you should be able to take and just click on that link. It'll go automatically into your calendar. Do things come up that may take a priority over attending a Hot Topic Tuesday or attending a Lunch and Learn? Absolutely. It happens. You got that priority. But if we keep in mind what is most important to us in our schedule and what we do then would go in that same pecking order, we're going to have a much more enjoyable life. And I want to throw out, because one of you brought it up, and I call her the matriarch of the company, but many of you know Darlene Hendrix, and what Deb and John and their administrative assistant do is they do I believe we call it a swag or the brag board. And so they interviewed Miss Darlene Hendrix and said, how did you do what you did? But one of the things that she said was this. She created a schedule, and when real estate calls came in, if they conflicted with personal events, she would say, and we quote, I have an appointment at that time. Would day X or Y work for you? Otherwise, it wasn't an option because she knew the priority. She could look at a calendar and go, I have a family event at that time. You don't need to know it's a family event. It's just an appointment. And nobody would expect you to cancel a listing appointment. So why would they expect you to cancel any other appointment? So that's one to learn from Darlene Hendrix. And you guys have kind of mentioned the same thing. Alex, let me come back to you, because I think there's one thing that you drive home really well, and I think they almost go together, but expectations, setting expectations, and then setting and committing to a shut-off time. Can you share what that is?
Yeah, so a lot of people, will say, well, what if a client calls me during my call time, or what if, someone's trying to get a hold of me when I'm not taking calls? Well, it all starts with expectations, right? So once you do have a set schedule in place, I strongly advise you to share that with your clients. So, hey, when you take a listing, just so you know, the best time to get a hold of me is typically after 11 or 12 or whatever it is, whenever you're free, right? Let them know I'm on appointments in the morning. Or, hey, I typically go to the gym every day from 5 to 6 or whatever it is, to let them know, to set the expectation that, look, if you call me between this time on these days, I'm on appointments or I'm not available. So that can set the expectation right there. The other thing you want to do to avoid, the 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock phone calls you get at night, first thing you got to keep in mind is once you decide to take that phone call at 10 o'clock at night, you've now set the expectation with that client that they can call you at 10 o'clock at night. Okay? And they're going to do it again just because you told them it's okay for them to do it. So I strongly encourage all of you to set a cutoff time for your daily routine. I typically shut down at 7:30. So if you call or text me after 7:30, I won't get back to you until the next day. And if you, some of my agents put that in their voicemail. Hey, if you call me after 7 o'clock, that time is designated to my family. I'll get back to you the next day. Who's going to call you and say, how dare you shut off at 7 o'clock to spend time with your family? You need to call me back now. Okay. And if you are dealing with someone like that, you shouldn't want to work with them anyway.
Right.
So it all starts with setting expectations and respecting your own schedule, because if you don't respect your own schedule, if you don't respect your cutoff time, how do you expect other people to respect it? You have to set the expectations up front. Let them know what your cutoff times are. Let them know what your schedule is. And that's, again, managing expectations as part of your customer service.
I love it, bud. Matter of fact,
Amen to that.
You're right. Miss Stephanie,
Yes.
if you would jump on, I think you know what I would love for you to be able to do, because Stephanie is one of Alex's coaching clients, and Stephanie is still married today because she embraced one or a few of these things, right?
That's right. So, I teach a class at 6 a.m. in the morning. And I get up at 4:30. I start my day out really early, and I teach until 7. And then I have a few things to do after that for the class. So I'm really finished close to 8. But in order to teach that class at 6 a.m., I have to prepare the night before for it. So I now have a recording. If you call and get my voicemail, it says, if you're calling me after 7 p.m. or on Sunday, that time is reserved for family, and I will return your call the next business day. So now when I have a client, I will never answer their phone call at first during that time. The first time they call me during that, I won't answer, just to set a point. But I've already set the expectation. I've had to talk with them and just let them know that, if you call and can't reach me, if you're calling me after 7, I'm not going to be able to talk to you till the next day. If there's a reason that I need that's urgent, I may call you after 7 if there's something, we've got a highest investor, if there's something going on. But I fully set that expectation that they are not going to hear from me, and I'm not going to take their phone call. So they know if I'm calling them after 7, they better pick up or answer right away, because there's something urgent, because I'm not going to do that, and I'm not going to take their phone call as well.
And we set that together, and I would consistently text her at like 7:01, 7:02, 7:03 to make sure she didn't respond to me, and she did. So that was great.
I love it. And as a matter of fact, you talk about having a career worth having. Stephanie, you have been at it for how long?
5.5 years.
And you started out, we'll call it dual career, a little slow, but talk to us about the last few years. Let's say the last 3, what happened to your production?
Gosh, it's gone crazy. And I'm telling you, that's Alex. That's Alex that did it. I had a mind shift in my brain. I got the confidence. Anyway, it shifted. So I'm all a big proponent of the coaching, because it transforms you. I don't know that I hit 1 million at all. It took me a few years. But then last year I went from 2 million to 6.2 million. So
And what are you going to do this year?
Well, I'm supposed to do 8. I'm working toward 8 million. 8 is my number that I want to hit.
I will do 8.
I'm on my
He's
way.
gonna do 8.
It's busy. I'm busy and I'm grateful, and I'm on my way to 8. So I'm doing 8 this year.
And I also, when I looked at the background, we talk about a career worth having,
Yep.
and I know this is a new toy that you and Tony bought.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you got to explain everybody to that point.
So I'm so excited. Okay. I bought a trailer. I bought a travel trailer. Tony and I are going to go, my husband and I are going to go camping for a month this winter, or we're going to go down to Florida or South Carolina. We've got several trips planned, some of which are local, so I can still work. But I was able, guys, to do this on my own. My husband's an engineer at GM. He's always been the breadwinner. And this last year, I think I made as much as he did, or maybe a tiny bit more. We were right neck and neck, but I bought the trailer all by myself. I did it. Normally I've had to rely on him. Not a big deal for some people, but for me, that was a big deal because I was always the stay-home mom and, you know, the one that just took care of the kids. So for me, this is great. And I'm loving it. It's like my little she shed. I'm having so much fun. It's in my driveway and I'm having fun.
I love it. And I got goosebumps. I don't know if anybody else did when I just think about what she's done and where she's been, because Stephanie joined me when I was in the Fenton location, and to see where she is now is just awesome, both personally and professionally. So Miss Dawn, let's come back to you. I mean, kind of an overall question of how the heck do you do it, really? I mean, what's the key for doing 60 transactions, earning the type of income that brings with you? And that would be Dawn Hendrix, please.
Yes, because I didn't do 400 transactions, so I figured you were talking to me. So I wish I could say it's just easy, but it's not. You have to put in the work. You really do. And this is you have to figure out your why. I have to know why I'm doing what I'm doing. If I'm just out here spinning my wheels and don't have a direction, then I'm probably not going to be as successful as I've been. I will say having a really strong support system of Alex and my assistant, who is absolutely by far the best on the planet. So she is mine forever. But those people around me really are what make me successful. But I build them into my schedule, just like Dawn Connors was talking about. I speak with Sandy every morning. You know, we kind of true up our day, see what it looks like. I have my coaching clients on a schedule weekly so that it's not all over the place. But I have to have that why in front of me. It's just how I've always been driven, and commit to myself. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it 100%. I'm not typically an 80%er. So if I'm going to go, I'm going all in, but I have to stay committed and have that in front of me at all times.
I love that. Matter of fact, you brought up something else, and I think Dawn Connors, this is a big part for you to do what you do. There's two words that sound or pronounced essentially the same. There is assistance, ATNS, and there is assistance. Dawn Connors has put together a team that allows her to produce at the level that she does. She's got the assistance to be able to do a great deal of the work. Dawn, I know you've put a lot together because you've got the assistance by getting others such as the closing department. You've got Sandy, who helps you with all of your paperwork. So I don't have a buyer's assistant necessarily, but you've actually put one now in place to be able to take care of the things you simply cannot do. Right. Do either of you want to kind of expand upon that thought, that of assistance versus assistant?
I'll just say really quickly, because I'm new to the team thing, and I know Connors has a lot more experience with that. But the one thing, the purpose for me having a team was so that I could produce at a higher level. So the purpose for me was not so that I could necessarily take a back seat and just pay somebody to do it. It was really so that I could expand my day. And that's exactly what it's provided for me is if I am out, for example, yesterday I had 4 buyers to show, but I also had 2 listing appointments, and those selfishly took priority for me yesterday. So my buyer's agent went out and showed 4 homes. And for me, that just maximized my whole day because I was able to get 2 listings and write 2 buyer offers. So when I look at it that way, there's no way I can do that without that team. There's just no way it would happen. So the assistance of my people, but then having a personal assistant too, who I call and say, hey, I'm still on the road driving. Can you take care of this for me? And it's all about, and I have expectations with her too. I don't expect her to be answering her phone after crazy hours and things like that either. So I have to realize there's a limitation there, but you know, having that in place, having those people to back you up is definitely the key for me.
I love it. I love it. Dawn Connors, can you add to that? Because I know where you were and something struck you, and then all of a sudden you knew what you had to do to get to the point that you are, and you have a good sized team, a support team that helps you do what you do.
So my mom was my first assistant. She was part-time with me, and eventually I had to say, Mom, I need you full-time. And she said, no, go, Donnie. And I said, okay, then I need to work at finding a person that is going to be with me full-time. So that's where I started. I started at small beginnings, and then I just kept growing as a need arose. I think if I can give a tip, you want to grow yourself with a 90-day, where you're at now. If you have done the production that deserves an assistant, it would be that you've hit those numbers 90 days in a row. So like 3 months in a row. So you really need one support person as a real estate agent for every 3 closings that you're having. As a lender, I need one support person for every 5 loans that I'm closing. The purpose of a team for me is to provide a high level of service, to really give my clients really high touch points. Because what our buyers and sellers need is to feel loved. And to have anyone say, I know you're busy, but I have a question, I stop them right there and say, I am not too busy for you. The whole reason I'm in business is because of you. So I always will correct them, and they're like, oh, okay, thank you. And they seem to ease up. They seem to just relax. So I always will say that when someone says, oh, I know you're busy, but I have a question. No. This is why I'm in business, is to do business with you. So my purpose for a team was a high level of service. And then my secondary purpose is as much time that I can be in front of clients, either on the phone or meeting with clients on client consultations. That's my highest and best use. As a real estate agent, as much time as you can be on listing appointments and buyer consultation appointments, that's your highest and best use. And then on the phone, drumming up that business through power hours. So I made a list in preparation for today of the things that I do that are red time, the things that I do that do not make me any money, such as expense reports, gifting, the P&L, deliveries, locking loans, getting clients into Zoom. Like I'm doing this. I have a good sized team, yet I'm doing almost 50 hours a month in red time, 50 hours a month. So if I can work, so I made a list and then I went over it with my team and I said, can you think on how, we're going to start strategizing and figuring out how can I get out of gifting? I enjoy buying the gifts. Maybe I can make the selections for what is purchased, but to actually do the purchasing and the delivery of the gift is probably not a good use of my time when clients would rather have me spend time in front of them, answering questions, calling them on Wednesdays and seeing how their home search is going. So I'm a little bit out of balance. And it's just continual improvement. The other thing I'd like to say is the ironic thing about what Dawn was saying, I was feverishly taking notes on what Hendrix was saying about getting my clothes ready the night before, pulling out my lunch. And do you know, at the end of the day, my schedule, if I pull it up, it says all the things that Dawn has said. I just am not doing it or looking at it at night. So a schedule is only as good as you executing on it and actually doing it. And just because I have a great schedule in place, I'm a soldier to it in the mornings usually and during the day, and then I get a little lousy with myself at night. So I'm going to work on that a little bit more. And it's just continual improvement. It's just adjusting.
It brings up the plan your work, but work your plan. You know, and again, I call it a working schedule or a working calendar. So put it in place. Then understanding the priorities, you may have to make adjustments. But I know, Alex, what's, again, the big commitment is that morning, right? Lock it in and do it. I mean, would they have anything that could take a priority over that morning that you talk about?
You know, personally, I'm going to say no, right? Because, you know, would you skip a listing appointment? Would you skip closing? So why are you skipping the activity that directly leads to both, which is prospecting? Like your lead generation, we're in a cyclical business. So if we don't prospect now, we're not going to have a check for 60, 90 days from now, which means you lose a full quarter. So the work that you choose not to do now will show up not just now, but 2-3 months from now. And it'll snowball and snowball, and it's so much harder to get back up and moving. So the biggest thing in how you build that consistency and avoid the up and down is to master the morning and get that done first. And I always encourage, and we've had many conversations about this, Darwin, do the most difficult things that you don't want to do first. Get it out of the way, okay? Get it done when you first wake up, when you're most energized, when you haven't had a day full of problems, and get it done. Because
well, you know, the way that I put it, I just put it, he and I talked about this morning. And now I'm kind of this thing, you know, broccoli, it's ugly. Yeah. To me, it's like, it's from the devil. I don't want to try it because it's ugly. But here's the thing. When it comes to your work, do the things you don't like first. You're going to have to eat it. You're going to have to do it. Do the things you don't like first. Eat the broccoli first would be the way that I put it.
Yeah. And you know,
I still don't eat my wife is sitting there laughing. You could probably see her, but anyway, she'll probably make a comment. But anyway, keep going, bud.
I don't eat broccoli either, but yeah, I would rather eat a frog than broccoli. So eat the frog first, right? Mark Twain, Valerie, yes. So a lot of agents make the misconception that, yeah, I got in the business because I want freedom, I want flexibility. Okay, yeah, you got to earn that though. You can't just show up and say, yeah, I'm going to work 5 hours a week and everything's going to be great. I'm going to make $100,000. That's not how it works. So you can either sacrifice your freedom now and have freedom in the future, or you can choose freedom now and sacrifice your freedom in the future. So also you make the decision every day.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey says, live like no one else today so you can live like no one else tomorrow. It's just a great, great quote without doubt.
So Darwin, I do eat broccoli, by the way. But on another note, that is the key for me. I had to change my mindset, and Alex helped me tremendously with that. I was working to the point, exhausting amounts of work and not getting the results that I should have been getting. If you just look on paper and say, I should have these results because I put in these many hours, but I wasn't doing the right activities during those hours. So I have had to force myself, especially when I have a challenging client or something that I know, like, oh, I don't want to call them. They are the first person I call, because otherwise my anxiety starts to build up throughout the day. And I know I still got to make that call. And the whole day it looms over me with all the other income producing things that I'm doing. So I will say that has unfortunately been something I've had to really, really work on, but it definitely changes how you approach the rest of your day once that's off your plate.
And I'll share a couple of things here that I had written down. Pre-qualify. If you're newer, you're going, man, no, it's good for me to go out with people who I don't know whether or not they're going to be able to buy or sell. It's great practice. No, you could spend that time talking to more people, getting more people that you can get in front of. You could knock on more doors. You could hold open houses, talk to people, but work with people. I'm going to add this: work only with the people who are ready, willing, and able to buy or sell, and they've signed a contract with you. Everyone else is a prospect. They shouldn't get in your car. You shouldn't be seeing homes with them, and you shouldn't do things as if they were under contract with you. Do only the things that require a license. Let assistance or get assistance from the sources that we have available at both brands, because we have HRC, huge benefits because of the size of the company that we have. Shannon, who's doing a great job with the marketing. We've got the closing department with Amanda. That's taking the first step in using the assistance that is available to us, which allows us to do the things that require a license. Getting a deal to closing and handling of paperwork doesn't require a license. And that's one of the great things that Sandy does for Dawn. And what, Dawn Hendrix, I know for you, what your team does, you hand off what you can hand off, and they do that key work that they don't need Dawn for. As a matter of fact, I can tell you, one of the things that we need to take a look at, like for me, Dawn's team is my team. I have more time for myself because of the service that she provides to our clients in her team and what they do. I never have to talk to a listing agent when Dawn has my buyer and she's taking care of the financing, because she and her team is doing all of the communication with the listing agent. That again is another way of being able to save yourself time. I got a couple of questions here that needs to be thrown out. Dawn, here's one for you. You mentioned your why, and the question came up, where do you keep your why so you see it every day?
So at the moment, I am professionally homeless because our office is moving, so I don't have it in front of me. But normally I actually keep it on my wall, and anybody who does Zoom calls with me knows that it's there. And it's not even what's on that paper, but it reminds me, and my why could be ever changing throughout the year. So it just reminds me that that's what I'm focused on, but I literally have it on my wall so that I don't forget.
I like it. Dawn, I think you do the same thing, do you not? Matter of fact, I remember you sharing a story one time that it was like in multiple places.
Yeah. And I have a recording of it too, so that I can hear myself say it. The bigger my why, when your why is yourself, it's decent. When your why is your family, it gets bigger. When your why becomes outside of yourself and outside of your family, it's my why right now is my family and my team. And then eventually my why is becoming for human trafficked victims. So as I grow and I adult and get older, I'm thinking about how I can help my community, how I can help the humans that are in my life and around. And I have it posted, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, matter of fact, didn't you like scratching on the mirror one time in lipstick or something? Was that you?
No, I'm not telling you that. I'm not admitting that. But I'm not going to tell you that. But that's embarrassing.
It would be a great way of doing it. But put it, I was talking with somebody and they literally put it on the mirror. So when they woke up in the morning, that was the first place that they would go, because they get up, go to the restroom and brush their teeth, and there it was in front of them. And then when they get to their office, there it was in front of them. And of course, an old Floyd Wickman for, sweat hogs, that Floyd made you attach it for 12 weeks to your keychain so that you had it with you at all times. So that's a great one. There was one, Stephanie, can you give an example of what your voicemail says? Because it just confirmed to me, Steph, when I called you to say, hey, I might pick on you, that I was calling you for the right reason.
Well, it says something like, hello, you've reached Stephanie Rossello with Coldwell Banker Professionals. I'm unable to take your call. If you're calling after 7 p.m. or on a Sunday, I will return your phone call the next business day, as this time is reserved for family. Thank you, and I look forward to talking to you. Have a great day.
And it's just that easy. So however your voicemail system may work, put your message in however it does. I don't know how all voicemail systems work, but that's a great sample of setting the expectation so that they know. And by the way, what's the worst that they got to do? Stephanie, I know that it's after 7 p.m., but I really, really, really got to talk to you. Well, now Stephanie's got a choice as to whether or not she'll return the call. And I think that's what you said you do. You get to determine whether or not you'll call them afterward. All right, let's see. Well, how about I'm showing 3.5 minutes left here. How about some closing thoughts that you might say that, hey, if there's one thing that you really got to impress upon and share with somebody, Alex, I'll start with you. What might that be?
Well, to kind of wrap up the whole scheduling conversation, it may be overwhelming to kind of try and lay out the whole day. So what I would encourage you to do is just do it section by section. Start with the morning, put together a morning routine, get it done for a week. Then after you get your morning down, move to the afternoon. Then after you get the afternoon down, move to the evening. And it's going to take time. You heard Dawn say it took her a couple of years to really master her schedule. So start with the morning, start building routine. It takes time, 30, 45 days to really set a habit. But I would just say break it up into sections and start with the morning to start building routine for yourself.
I like that. And I would capitalize right on with it by saying prioritize the things that are important in your life. And that will help you in being able to build that schedule. Dawn Connors, words of wisdom?
Sure. 3 things, 3 top takeaways. Be gracious with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Give yourself rewards as you do small things. Reward yourself. Number 1, be gracious. Number 2, hire Alex Peck to be your coach. There is no greater investment than investing in yourself. You are your number 1 person. And if you believe in yourself, like you want your clients to believe in you, hire Alex Peck. That was my number 1 best choice, was hiring a life business coach. It was my number 1 move. And then number 3, when you can, hire an assistant. When you're making enough money to cover your bills, it will help you get to the second step. So when I was making $50,000 a year, my mother helped me get to 6-figure income. My mama helped me. And so you can count on an assistant being able to do some of those things, those red time events, so that you could focus more on green time. It's automatically. And I loved what Darwin said. It's a takeaway from me. It was so brilliant. Do the things that require a license. Do the things that require a license. And I put on, I'm gonna take that away with me. I have on my computer my dashboard, like what I make a month, what I make a year. And then I ask myself, I write on there, am I doing things that represent my hourly rate? And so I'll look at that and be like, oh boy, am I doing things that represent? No. And so I need to get it off my plate, work on getting it off my plate. Because our highest and best is doing things that require a license. I love that, Darwin. Thank you for having me here.
All right, Dawn Connors, take us home, because you are coach number 2 in here.
Hendrix.
Did I say Dawn? Oops.
All right.
I'm looking at Dawn Hendrix. You didn't know what I was talking about.
I knew exactly what you were talking about. So I have to say, the first thing I'm going to reiterate what Dawn said is hiring a coach. Alex has changed my career, and I don't want to give him too much credit, but honestly, from the perspective of right from the beginning to pushing myself out of that comfort zone to really have to time block, to have to do it because I was busy. So that would be my first perspective for you. And then definitely focus on income producing activities during the day. I can't reiterate that enough. I tell people all the time, when I'm in the office, I'm not in the office to shuffle papers, and I am there to make money. And when I am there to make money, that means I am doing things actively to do that. So I am on the call outs. I am forcing myself to do things that make me feel a little uncomfortable, because that's where I grow the most.
I love it. I love it. So Dawn, you have room for one or two people, do you not, as far as coaching?
I do.
I know. Yep, go ahead.
I currently have 4. I would love to take on more. They are doing tremendously well. And these were people that were probably in the same boat as a lot of you, where they had some successes. They had some things that were going well for them, but not where they wanted to be. And they're pushing themselves to the next level. And it's all different personality types. So there's, it's every person has to be handled differently and has to be set up differently. And we talk about this time management situation a lot. That is probably like Alex said, the very first thing is, what are you doing in your day? Because that's going to be the first hurdle that we have to overcome.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you. I hope you got a lot out of this. I found this a very valuable session. Dawn Hendrix, Dawn Connors, and Alex, thank you for stepping in at the last minute. I appreciate everybody's time. This will be up on the HRC Agent Development channel on YouTube. So look for that in the next couple of days if you want to have any review or need to share this with anybody else. So that wraps up another Lunch and Learn, this one for May. Stay tuned for what's coming up in June. Have a great one, everybody.